Welcome to the MBVS show. Boom! I'm your host, Mark Hayford, coming at you like a freight train right down the Jersey Turnpike, straight through the Easy Pass. And we are here for the MBVS show. I'm surrounded by the best in the game right now. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way coming from the Big Apple. It's said like fried, but it's spelled like freed, vice versa. It's the guy with all the books. When he's not on CNN, when he's not on your television, he is right here on this show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is trauma and bereavement expert, five-time, soon to be five-time author, Dr. Norman Freed.
Hi, everybody. Good to be here.
What an intro. Don't you love these?
West Coast, throwing gang signs since it wasn't cool to throw gang signs. She's a TEDx speaker. What doesn't she do? She's an Emmy Award winner. That's what she is. Okay, and she's the founder of Give Great Voice. Ladies and gentlemen, Tasia Valenza.
Woo!
That's right. Hey, you don't have a show about mental wellness if you don't have a neuroscientist on your panel. So all the way from the beautiful rolling hills and valleys of Pennsylvania, bring our neuroscientist and psychology professor, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Haley Nelson.
Hey, everybody.
And we have a very special guest, also coming from the Big Apple with a resume that looks like a rap sheet from Compton, ladies and gentlemen, clinical social worker, psychotherapist, author, hypnotherapist, easy for you to say, and mom of three. It's not Regis, but ladies and gentlemen, it's Janet Philbin.
Woohoo!
Touchdown. What's up, squad? Happy
What's
mental
up?
wellness.
What's up?
I always get those. I just love listening to your intros. They're like,
That's the best part.
Yeah, it's just
That's
like,
the best part. You don't need to
And
watch
makes
it.
my day.
It's
You're
verbal
so much fun.
Prozac. Mark, it's verbal
You set the
Prozac.
tone, baby. You set the tone, right?
Well, listen,
you
I
bring in
don't-
that energy. That's
I
what
don't
it's all
speak
about.
most of this show, so I just got to shoot my shot like we're talking about. It's time to go. Well,
Push.
it's great to see everybody. Janet, welcome. Welcome to what we're doing here.
Thank you.
Thanks for sitting in this week. Barb cannot be with us because she's somewhere under palm trees and a cool breeze. We know how she do, but she will be returning, of course. And listen, this is what we do, guys. Every week we are talking mental wellness. We're taking your questions. The show is for and about you. So please reach out to us. Send us what you have going on. We'd love to address it. And we would love to just kind of get into whatever you have going on, offer some advice and some thoughts. And with that, let's go old school paper. You know how we do. It's like a contract signed in blood. I have to read the disclaimer. The content heard here today is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare providers. With any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or potential mental illness, never describe professional medical advice to seeking it because something heard in this room. Okay, now let's get to the questions because we have a lot of people that need some help. Doctors, everyone, are we ready?
We are ready.
Yes.
We are.
We're ready. I hope so because we're live. Okay, so here we go. So, we have some really deep questions, and we've got a lot this week. So we're going to try to jump around, see what we have. The first one, this is interesting. It's a love question. All right, here we
That's
go.
good, Mark.
Thank
the
you.
voiceover artist in you is just dying to share with the world. You're so good.
I met a woman. Not me, I'm reading, okay? I met a woman on one of those match sites. She's perfect in every way. She likes to travel with me, likes my choices in movies, and rarely says no to new adventures. I'm 41. She's 39. Everything should be great, but I'm underwhelmed by her. Like, there's no excitement, no fire. Why am I drawn to the ones who are bad for me and that I am bored with? I don't mean to laugh. I don't know. I sound like I'm reading something on a dating site. Yes. Okay. So here's somebody who is constantly attracted to someone that just, it's not it. They're not the one. What do we, I know this is not a dating show, but you know, connectivity, communication. We all want to feel loved. What are we talking about here? What's some advice? What are some thoughts? I'm dying to hear this perspective.
I'm not going first this time.
Norm?
All right, I'll start by. Well, there is some biochemical stuff going
Yeah,
on. but we'll
I know.
leave
I
that
wanted to see
Dr.
the direction
Haley.
we were going first.
We'll leave that to you, Dr. Haley. I would
Yeah.
say that it sounds like this man is not just attracted to being with people who are not right for him, but is really also comfortable with that fire, that excitement. So here he is telling us that he has this seemingly perfect relationship. Everything's going well. They travel together. They laugh together, but there's not enough fire. He wants something that is a little bit more, perhaps, complicated. And my first response would be, we don't know sometimes what it is that attracts us to another person. And we'd be wise to take a look inward and discover that maybe we're trying to reenact something from our childhood. Maybe we had a relationship with a parent or witnessed our parents having a relationship that was filled with fire. Maybe there was some negative exchange, or perhaps somebody was in charge and somebody was submissive. And as a result, the research on memory reveals we're going to recapitulate that in our next generation. What I might say to this guy is, it may be boring to be with her, but it may actually be the right thing. Fire might burn you. And this relationship, which seems perfect in every other way, might allow you the chance to work on some childhood stuff and move past the fire and recognize that good actually can last.
Now, hold on, Dr. Norman, before the ladies speak, and I know you are all qualified, can we just get raw here for a second? We know all that ladies love the bad boys, right? They love bad boys, the edginess, but you can't love a bad boy because they're a bad boy, right? So, but then you have the good guy, but then maybe you get bored of the good guy and you want the bad guy, but then the bad guy hurts you. Like, is that maybe something what's going on here? Somebody weigh in on this.
I don't know about the good guy, bad guy thing, but I think another side to what Dr. Norman just shared is that picking the wrong person time and time again almost creates this self-fulfilling prophecy and can reinforce a belief that we have within ourselves that I'm actually not worthy of the person I really want. Therefore, I settle with the person like this because that's all I'm really worthy of. So we continue the self-fulfilling prophecy and even self-sabotage, in addition to what everything Dr. Norman just shared about repeating, because one of my mentors, Dr. Shefali Sabari, one of my favorite quotes from hers is, we don't live a life, we live a pattern. So when I heard this question, my first thought was, wow, what kind of pattern is he living? And when we can recognize the pattern, we can begin to step into it, look at it, and begin to deconstruct it by going back to childhood or whatever other formative events might have been there that set you up to accept this kind of relationship in your life. Even though you don't like it, you accept it. But that can go into a whole other theory, and I'm not going to take even more time, but
that's great.
What
it's
I wanted
brilliant.
to share.
Boom. It was excellent. I love that.
I lived that because I had divorced parents at a very young age. And my father, I recognized him as the Saturday day father, but I didn't know that at the time. So I always chose boys that were always dangling the carrot. And, I recognized I only wanted them, and the ones that liked me, I was almost physically ill by. So I recognized later on, when I started researching in therapy and reading Harvell Hendricks, who really is the master of the imago, that, we seek the compilation of our primary caretakers, 60% the positive traits, those really good ones, and the 40% is the negative, unresolved stuff, so that we can recreate the circumstances over and over and over again. But if we become conscious, then heal them. So once I really got that, wow, all that love was really more about dysfunction. And the Groucho Marx Club, I then really worked on myself. I met my husband, and the same things that I saw, he was a really good guy, and I was really having to stop myself from doing that same pattern. But we actually started therapy together fairly early because I saw the patterns, and I said, hey, we can do this together, or you can do this with the one next to me, or the one next to me, or the one next to me. And he was ready and I was ready. So we entered into a conscious relationship, worked on it. And, 25 years later, I can say that I fixed that issue that definitely plagued me in my early years.
Brilliant.
You're like a beaming light of hope for this,
Yes, you
this
are.
viewer who asked the question. So I'm going to take a slightly different perspective, only because I'm not a psychotherapist, right? And I don't go back and let's talk about our childhood and things. I'm more about, okay, you've recognized that you have this pattern of behavior. Janet, you hit it right on the head. These are patterns of behavior. So if his big problem is that he's not getting that spark, he's not getting that excitement, or neurochemically, he's not getting that dopamine rush that he would be getting that from something pleasurable, I would encourage him to look at, well, what does give you that satisfaction?
Great.
Just to be able to be mindful of it. And are those things that you're seeking that give you pleasure, are they unattainable because maybe you're watching too much hardcore pornography and those women are actresses and they're not, like it's going to be very difficult to find that person. If that's what you need to stimulate you and cause that fire, now maybe that might be, you might need to detox. I mean, it can lead to an addiction, and it can be, let's look at some other maladaptive patterns of behavior. What is causing you to get excited? And then see if maybe you can have that open dialogue with that woman. And if she's open to new experiences, maybe that means role playing. Maybe that means, going out. I don't know. I mean, trying something different to see if it's something that she might be willing to do, or maybe that you can compromise on and be able to get that spark with something that is more attainable on a regular basis, instead of that fantasy of what isn't real.
This is why I love this show, because you're getting all these different perspectives and everybody's hitting the nail from a different angle. Wow. Great stuff. So nothing
Excellent.
and I do want to just note that everybody dodged the bad boy thing. Okay. All right, ladies, I'm just saying, but Tasia, good for you for adulting in a healthy way. That's an amazing story too.
No, actually, I think Tasia, you embraced it and
I
put it
did. I
aside.
said it. I said that
You
I was
didn't dodge
only
it.
interested in
Took
that
it
one.
and you moved it.
I
But
want more. I need more. Give me the
Well,
dirt.
I didn't go into the dirt. That's for after. I'll tell you all the details later.
That's if you follow us on Patreon. No, I'm kidding. We don't. Okay, now. So that, I hope that was helpful for the person that sent that in, from Chuck from Rosdale. No, I'm kidding. I'm just making up a name. All right.
Now we're going to all look to see his, porn subscriptions and things like that.
No, we're not. Let's move on. Okay. However, we have another question, and this one is a whole different vibe, ladies and gentlemen. So let's detox our minds. Here we go. This is from a mom. Okay. This is a mom of 2 young kids, and I'm feeling so overwhelmed with everything that my kids are doing. I'm constantly taking them places and very involved in their lives. However, I've noticed that I've lost my own sense of self. I've lost touch with what I love, and I'm having a difficult time finding myself again. Okay, this is not an uncommon thing. What do we have, squad?
It sounds like something I wrote. I mean, that could have been coming from my mouth. That's basically my life right now and my friends' lives. It's hard, but I will tell you that one good thing that happened during the pandemic is that we have been able to experiment more with things virtually. And so I ended up going back into tap dancing, which was such a passion of mine as a child and all the way through college. But then once I became an adult, I was tap dancing up until I got pregnant with my first son. And it was just the weight distribution. It was really hard to tap dance with a belly out to here. And I hadn't danced in, a really long time, 9 years now. And so during the pandemic, I was in a company, and she reached out and she said, "Hey, I'm doing virtual classes. We're in different states, but do you want to take another class with me?" And absolutely. So I dusted off my old tap shoes. I was down in the basement, and you know what? My kids thought it was the coolest thing, that mommy's making more noise than us. And they were sneaking downstairs and watching me and hearing new music and a new form of dance that they hadn't been exposed to. And so I just encourage moms and dads, anybody who's feeling this overwhelmed, to think back of what brought you joy as a child and try it again. And like I said, there's so many more virtual things. It doesn't have to take time away from your kids. And in fact, it could be something that you're opening their eyes to new possibilities and new experiences that, they might want to start doing as well. And that could be something you do together. But I still encourage you to do things on your own.
I wanted to say that I love that you did that, because our kids, they're just sponges, right? They take information in. And so often, especially as mothers, we give, and we don't realize, we take the crumbs for ourselves, but at the same time, we're actually doing them a disservice, because they're modeling unconsciously how we treat ourselves. And so I think it's so what you just said, that your sons got the joy of seeing you take care of yourself and fulfill yourself. And that for them gives them that sense that, oh, it's good to take care of yourself. My mom, respects and loves herself. Therefore, I can too. So I think it's actually a great message. When you fill your own cup, you feel good. And I'm sure you have so much more to give to your sons because you are now fulfilled as opposed to empty. And then, again, that creates tension because after a while, you do get frustrated. After a while, you do get empty. They feel that. So I say that, it's a lot about giving yourself permission and then doing it and then getting them to see that joy and maybe participating in that joy. And so much of that can then blossom from there. But they really do take in how we treat ourselves. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, that 100%. I'm going to take a little different slant. I agree with you both 100%. As a mom of three, I totally get it. My kids are almost grown now, 2 in their 20s and one's still a junior in high school. I'm getting there. But anyway, when I hear that a mom is overwhelmed and over involved in their children's life, I have to ask, what is it within you that's driving you to be that over involved in your child's life? That are you not giving your child room to be them in the way they need to be? So is your over involvement look like micromanaging, over controlling, making decisions for your children that age appropriately they should be able to make, and therefore you're taking on things that really aren't yours to take on? And that's going to lead to overwhelm. It's going to lead to burnout. As a mom, you can get burnt out. And that's going to leave you with no time for yourself, such as making time to tap dance, which is awesome. So I'm just going to ask you to dig a little deeper. What's your drive in being over involved? How is that serving you? Where did you learn that? Was your parental figure not over involved in your life? Did you make a decision when you were young to say, when I have kids, I'm going to be at everything and then some? Or was this modeled for you? Because it could be modeled for you, or it could be the reverse, and therefore we overcompensate. But that's also good for your kids. If it's not good for you, it's not good for your kids. When my oldest was an infant, I had to make a decision to stop breastfeeding and go back to work. And I spoke to this woman I was doing a new moms group with, who was also a breastfeeding consultant and all of that. And I was having emotionally a really hard time with that transition as a new mom, a young mom. And she said, when mom is happy, baby is happy.
Right.
And that goes through the lifetime. So as Tasia was just saying, fill your cup, and then there's more actually to give as opposed to less. So I think we always have to also look at those underlying motivations as to why we're taking action and doing the things we're doing, especially when it comes to our kids, because they're really our greatest teachers if we allow them.
They are. This is where Janet, you and I see things from a more analytic perspective, and I really appreciate that. But at the same time, what Dr. Haley was saying is we really have to kind of jolt our autonomic nervous system and make some changes, whether it's tap dancing or going to the gym or self-care. I will, however, say that in terms of what Dr. Tasia said.
Dr. Tasia. I play one on TV.
You just got a promotion.
We are all in search. We're all in search of a sense of self, right? And when we're taking care of children, mother, father, it doesn't really matter. We are overextending ourselves, as Janet says, possibly because we come from a place where we think we have to recapitulate our childhood experiences, or we have to outdo our childhood experiences, or maybe we're just not comfortable not being available. Nevertheless, it's important that we tiptoe through our own sensory world and ask ourselves, what is it that I like? What makes me happy? Why did I choose this shirt to wear? And what does this make me feel like? We are allowed to have our own sense of self, even as giving parents. And as Tasia says so beautifully, a person with a sense of self can give it a great voice. Give yourself the voice to be heard, not just as a mother and a father, but as a contributing person in this world.
Beautiful.
Again, so much info from so many different perspectives and angles. I love it. And guess what? We got time for one more. Yes, we
Can I
do.
say something real quick though that I noticed?
Yes, doctor.
The first person that we talked about was underwhelmed with his female partner. This mother is overwhelmed. Maybe there could be a match made in heaven here.
This is a Goldilocks, or we could find the perfect.
Or maybe,
We're all unique. We're all unique.
or maybe this next question is just someone who's whelmed.
Well, I know. There we go.
Over and under in here is just
A
average.
new word for the dictionary. There you go.
I'm just
Dear
whelmed today.
MBVS crew, I am very whelmed. No, I'm kidding. Here we go. Here we go. Okay, I have a good job and make good money. It's actually my first big breakout job from college, but it's COVID virtual, so I don't see any colleagues. I go to the gym every day and I try to stay in touch with friends, but I'm down a lot. What is my problem?
I don't think it's a problem. I think it's a
Reality.
yeah. We need human contact. We desperately need human contact, and if COVID has done anything, it's really magnified that what social media was already doing, which was digitizing our communication and taking away what we are innately needing, which is soul to soul, voice to voice, eye to eye connection and heart to heart. And so I would just say that he's nothing wrong with him, and it's everything right with him to go seek out as much human contact, whether that's joining Clubhouse again, which is this beautiful virtual way to then, even if you can't see somebody, to connect on a human level and have these beautiful intimate conversations that really do lift our souls, and or join any kind of other organizations that will get him into more. The gym is great, but what other hobbies can he join? Whether it's a religious organization, something that allows him to commune with humans. And I'm calling it now more than ever IRL, in real life. In real life, I'm doing much more of that. I'm calling and getting out because I feel like we've all been so isolated. And it's that call to our human level to connect with other humans. And I say do more of that, especially in real life if you can, to offset the fact that virtually. And if you can connect with a virtual colleague and say, hey, do you want to have a beer? That would also be a great thing to do, to take it up level, that connection, to see if he can get something in real life.
Great.
I love that. And nature too. If you don't maybe necessarily have those buddies that you can go grab a beer with, but go find a bird in a tree somewhere. Or I wish Barb were, not that I absolutely love having you here, Janet, but if Barb were here, she would talk about how she high fives her trees as she walks down the side. Have you ever seen her?
She is the best. She talks to the plants. She's like, hey,
she
how
talks
are
to the plants and the trees and hugs them. And it's quirky. It's cute. It's funny. But just being out with nature, getting that vitamin D on your skin. And, it's great that he's exercising. Aerobic exercise is a great way to stimulate your, get oxygenated blood up to your brain, which is fantastic for mood regulation. And it is proven to be just as effective as some pharmacological treatments for depression. So it's a fantastic way, but you're not getting that social piece. So maybe at the gym, try one of those, group exercise things that they do. Don't just go lift weights by yourselves, go do a Zumba class if that's his thing, or what. I mean, obviously that's what I would do as a dancer, but, or Aquafit, who knows? I did that too. It was so much fun, but, trying to be social, get out with nature, and I love your tips. A Clubhouse has been great for people, but you're still missing that physical connection, the eye to eye contact. But all of these are great tips. And I just hope that this person knows that they're not alone. We've all been feeling it. And I'm hopeful that things are going to start turning around for all of us. And we're going to start seeing people more, especially as the weather is getting nicer. And yeah, birds are great conversationalists. You can talk to a bird all day out in nature, go for a walk and get that fresh air. And it'll hopefully will change his day.
I'm going to jump in and also say, Dr. Haley, that that when we are caught in an emotional trap and we don't really have connection, we can develop a feeling of self-loathing. And the opposite of self-loathing is loving others. right? So what we do is all the things that you guys have said, and we also help others in greater need than we are. When we reach out to someone whose situation in life is not as good as ours, we rise above our own self-loathing, our own feelings of loneliness, and we realize the world is a large place that needs our heart and our love. So I would say to this young man, on top of every other strategy that you've beautifully placed here, get in touch with people who are in need of your attention more than you think, and you will find that this world is really a warm, beautiful place in which to connect.
Yeah.
Love
Oh my
that.
gosh, I love it. There's really almost nothing for me to add when I'm listening to you, Dr. Norman. It makes me think about how important it is to find meaning, right? So if we are volunteering in a place that has a need, or with a passion that is something that's always been important to us that could light us up, like we were talking about even with the tap dancing from the last question, that is also going to give your brain lots of good chemical hits, right? Therefore, lifting your mood. And I also think it's important to acknowledge that partially this is like the weird new normal of in real life, because more and more young people who are just graduating from college are going into virtual jobs that may never go into an office. And I think that we have to become creative more than just going to the gym. The gym is great, and getting outside and high-fiving trees and talking to birds and volunteering, but really getting creative and becoming a person that's going to create the opportunities for people to get together, create a meetup, create a group, so that you're doing something that you find interesting and exciting, and it's going to bring to you other people with the same interests. So we can
Great.
find meaning-making activities in multiple ways, so that we decrease isolation and increase connection. Because we're built for connection. Human beings are built for connection.
Great,
So
great,
that's
Jen.
what I have.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Love it.
And unfortunately, this connection is about to end this week.
Oh, snap.
I know. Who knew that you could talk mental wellness and have such an enjoyable time doing it? But we do it right here every week on the MBVS. And you know what? I just want to thank all of you for coming in, showing up all the time, and just dropping this perspective, because who knows who needs to hear what's being said
Right.
on this video. We just don't know.
Absolutely.
We're taking a question, we're dissecting it from just one person, but how many thousands and thousands of people are dealing with the same thing?
Millions.
Millions, really.
Yeah,
Well,
I think-
from the 5 of us to the millions of you, the millions and millions of you,
The billions.
the billions and billions of you out there, the MBVS show is coming to a close this time, but we will be back next week. And what we do want is your questions. Please reach out to us. Let us know what we can chime in on, what we can assist, or even try to answer for you. So for Dr. Haley, for Tasia, for Dr. Norman, for our special guest, Janet, and I'm Mark, this week we are peacing out. You guys stay encouraged, take care of each other, and we will see you next week. Peace.